Oh, that sucks. Well, that was embarrassing. I've been talking for the last 15 minutes and then just realized that I wasn't live this whole time. Um, that's rough. I guess I guess I'll start at the beginning. Um, and for those that are kind of joining in, feel free to put questions in chat. That's the reason I wanted to do this as a live stream instead of a video was I just thought it'd be more fun. We had the preview event last year. I can definitely tell that I've gone live now that the game is lagging a little bit. But yeah. Anyways, the main reason I wanted to do this as a live stream instead of uh, just a regular video is because with the preview event a few weeks ago, I thought that was way more fun and way more engaging to have like basically all kind of help, talk, ask questions, that kind of stuff, and we could kind of talk about everything together. And with season 11, I feel like that is even more important because there's less to talk about with season 11, I think. And the thing I was saying before I realized the stream wasn't even on was that season 11 is really the last carryover season of kind of the what I would say the boring era of Sea of Thieves. So we have like season 9, 10, and 11 were really those updates that were meant for preparing the game for the PlayStation launch. And now that the PlayStation launch is almost here in about 2 days, it's now time for the game to really get back on track, be more fun like it used to be, and just having, great updates again. I really miss the updates of the past with stuff like, the Ancient Volts update, the Ships of Fortune update, that was a great one. Um, there's I think it was Heart of Fire. Heart of Fire, I think, is my favorite update. That brought the chain shot in, a tall tale. That was a really great one. Um, but anyways, season 11, I think out of the three, I would say the boring era seasons, it's probably the best one in terms of actually doing something interesting with the game. So we'll start off with the big headlining feature. We have the diving mechanic, which y'all didn't get to see it, but I used the diving mechanic to start off this voyage for the Legend of the Veil. And I have very mixed feelings with it. Hey, Joseph, how you doing? Um, so the diving mechanic, on the one hand, it's a nice way to speed up your time playing the game. If you're starting Voyage like I did here, I started off at one of the outposts. I think it was Daggertooth that I started off at. I did the Legend of the Veil, and then I just, dived all the way to the Devil's Roar. And that, saves like a good, 5 to 10 minutes. Uh, what do I think about the stone costume? Um, so, oh, it's Stone Curse. Sorry, it's blocked with the emoji. Um, I am against the idea of having a curse in the Plunder Pass. Not necessarily saying that, you can never have curses in the Pirate Emporium or the Plunder Pass, but the main problem to me is that was like the one category we had in the game that was somewhat exclusive to just playing the game and unlocking it. It was really something that you had to basically get an achievement for doing. And if this is too choppy, let me know in the chat, please, and I'll just kind of stop the game. We can just talk like we did last time. I did a live stream because I can see that it's like kind of being a little choppy with the game, so I'm not sure how the stream's coming out. But anyways, I'm going to talk about it when I do my Plunder Pass review for Season 12, but to give you, I guess, a little preview of what my thoughts are with the curse, if they were going to do something with the curse that was, taking it to the next level. For example, what I mean by that is I've talked in the past, what if you had a gold curse that basically the more gold you had on your ship, it basically took over your entire body. And I said that as an update to the old gold curse that we had for the Shores of Gold Tall Tales. But if they were to do something like that, where it's like reactive curse, where it basically requires extra work to do outside of just the normal work of making the cosmetic in the first place, then I think I could get behind that being a premium item. Not necessarily saying that I like the idea of it, but if you're not going to make it tied to like an actual achievement in the game, then give us something different for it. And what I'm seeing for the Plunder Pass curse that we're getting, it looks like we're getting two different curses. And it's not reactive or anything. It's just like there's like one that's like partially gold, the other one that's, or sorry, partially stone, another one that's fully stone. It just, it feels a little scummy, and I'm not liking some of the changes I'm seeing with the game, such as like they replaced the Adventures tab with the Pirate Emporium now. So it's like, okay, you're trying to basically bombard us with this while also removing features that were in the game, like Adventures previously, and the curses now. The curses used to be part of just playing the game and earning stuff. And some people might defend it. I can defend monetization and in-game stuff to an extent, but I think it's good to remember that this is not a free-to-play game. This is something that people paid money for. You know, obviously we just saw with PlayStation, the base version is like $40. So you're paying $40 for a game that's not even, you know, giving you some of this stuff to, you know, earn. Not just like, you know, giving it away, but like to actually just earn in the game. So I see a comment here. I know, right? Why did they make it paid for instead of earning it? Lose the status symbol of curses. Yeah. So yeah, basically I fully agree. And even if this was like not just like in the Plunder Pass, if this was in the free pass, I'd still not like it that much. I don't even really like that we had for season 1, we had the Pirate Legend curse with, you know, the glowing eyes and everything. That was part of that pass. That one is less like, it's a cool curse, but it's more of just like an eye thing and then a little chest thing. I almost view that as like a partial curse. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of similar to the curse that I always wear with the Order of Souls makeup. Uh-oh. That's not good. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the curses being premium. I don't really like this change. You know, I think certain stuff makes sense to be in the Pirate Emporium. Let the pets be exclusive to the Pirate Emporium. Let, you know, emotes be there if you want. I don't know. But, like, it feels like every single thing that they do in the game has to go into the Pirate Emporium. Like, if you think about, like, Season 11 with Captaincy... Uh-oh. Oh no, it's a series of unfortunate events right now. But if you think about Season 11, or sorry, Season 7 with Captaincy, that was really just all disguised for more monetization. Because what is Captaincy? It's just getting more items so that you can sell stuff in the Pirate Emporium. When's the last time we had an update to, like, get new, you know, rugs and a new, like, ship set for like the beds and everything? It's been, I think, since season 8. What is breaking still? Oh, it's still moving. It's been since season 8 that we've gotten anything, and they haven't added anything else to the shipwright shop. So I don't know. I just find that very scummy that it's like you disguise this update as just something for that. I mean, same thing with, like, guilds. I bet you soon we'll see, like, something where it's like, okay, there's premium guild plaques inside of the Pirate Emporium, or something like that. Joseph says that he hates Season 11 because we didn't get a Pirate Lord and Merrick plushie. See, now that you say that, now I really want that. So, I'm a little mad at you, because now I didn't even think about that, but now I really want it. Especially the Merrick one. Merrick would be cool, and I think I talked about this in a video a few weeks ago about how I think Hunter's Call needs an update for, this year, and the fact that they were excluded from season 11 and all the trading companies getting updated then, it made me hope that maybe we would see something this season with it. Or not this season, this year with it, but from everything we've seen, it doesn't look like they're getting any updates. And I don't know why. I feel like if you weren't gonna do like the whole Hunters, campaign or like new voyages or something with it in the near future, why not just add the new levels to the Hunter's Call as well? I mean, what damage does it do to basically let the people that like to do the fishing and that kind of stuff have more levels to go for? Because I wouldn't say I like doing fishing, but I like cooking and stuff, and I have maxed out Hunter's Call, and it's like the only thing outside of, say, like the Sea Dogs, so you can't really progress further than 50. Yeah, the only new captaincy cosmetics we get are the ship crests and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just stuff that is in the Pirate Emporium. So it's like even the trinkets and stuff. Like the trinkets is another thing that I think should have been exclusive to the main game. So like trinkets I view as trophies that you have on your ship. Like I should be able to go down here and then everything here has like a story to it, like of what I've achieved. So you could say like that picture is from, having the guild emissary. These things are from the PvP mode, getting achievements in that. This is from getting to a certain level in Athena's Fortune. The Gold Order trinket is from participating in the Hoarder's Hunt event. Briggsy's mask is from the adventure, I believe. Everything in here should have a purpose, or it might just be some just non-specific stuff like the decorations here. But I think the main thing with trinkets is they should be trophies, and when you have them in the Pirate Emporium, it just it's not a trophy anymore. It's just like a pay to win. Oh, it's not really pay to win, but it devalues what a trinket is to me. Let me see what else we got here. I think they make too much for the Pirate Emporium. Like some of the sets aren't even premium, like the chest or boar hunter set. Those should be Outpost shops. I mostly agree. I think some of the stuff, like here's another thing, right? They could honestly do something where maybe the Pirate Emporium gets like a time limited exclusive. So like let's say for a year the chest set and the boar hunter set are in the Pirate Emporium, and then a year later it goes to the Outpost shops. And maybe not everything goes. Maybe not like the big premium stuff, but like the chest set could be something that goes. I could definitely see that. Even some of the other stuff, like even if like you just take like like the original version of the Isle Hopper set and put that in the regular shop, and then have like the variant as the one that's inside the Pirate Emporium. I think, I don't see that ever happening. I think that would be a nice thing for them to do. And since I say it's a nice thing for them to do, they're probably not going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and swim over here. Feel free to put some more questions in the chat. But getting back to the diving mechanic with Season 11, the only thing that's like the saving grace for me with the diving mechanic is that I love the raid voyages. I think the raid voyages was their smartest idea for like a year now. Like there's nothing else that has been added to the game that I have enjoyed more. And that's saying a lot because I think it's just been a bad year with Sea of Thieves. When I say year, I'm not just talking about 2024. I'm talking about like a full 365 days, all the way going to like Season 9. Season 9 wasn't bad, but it lasted way too long, and it didn't add any new gameplay. And that's my other main problem with Season 11. It didn't add new gameplay. All it really did, if you think about it, is give you more levels to grind for, which, cool, fine. People will like that, but it's, not new gameplay. And it gave a diving mechanic, which makes getting places easier, and I think it helps newer players. But on the other hand, it hurts tucking. And I don't think I talked about this yet. I was talking about it when I thought I was live by accident. The tucking in the game, it used to be that you could go to, an outpost or something if you see a ship there, and you could jump off your ship and go and board them. And with season 11, that's kind of ruined because if you go and board and you're tucked on someone's ship, and then they decide, okay, we're going to go ahead and do a voyage, now it's going to warn them not only that you're there, but then if they try to do that voyage, they can't, or else they have to kick you off. And what the complaint that I heard everyone saying when season 11 first came out is, well, you can still, sail to the voyage and stuff. You don't have to dive. You don't have to. But let's be honest. How many people are going to go through the effort of not diving? I'm going to dive. I mean, I'm the type that will criticize this kind of stuff, but let's be honest. I'm not going to, go on some moral high ground and, not do it just because, can't. It's the same thing with when I was talking about season 7. Like the Sovereign, I kind of was a little bit against the Sovereign because if you think about it, it doesn't incentivize you to go to the trading company representatives anymore. It also kind of ruins the I'm not sure what the right word would be, but it's almost like the excitement as well as like the anxiety of trying to make sure that you you sold all your stuff as quick as possible to the different representatives, or else like someone might be showing up. With the Sovereign tent, it makes it so quick that it's not even like difficult to do anymore. It's not even stressful. Like if there's another ship in the area and I see a Sovereign tent, I have like enough time, yeah, I'll go sell. Whereas before, it might be like, okay, we need to go take these people out before we sell. And I think that's an aspect of the game that's gone. So that I found disappointing with season 7, and I think that's continued with season 11. Raid voyages and new types of loot, best part I agree. Yeah, the new loot is also great. So, all the like the high level loot and stuff that you get is really awesome. I will say, I think everyone, including me, was upset about the lower amount of treasure that you get with season with the different voyages, especially the raid voyages and stuff, as opposed to before. But I do like having less stuff to grab and having them be higher value. It feels worse, but it's basically the same as before. So that's an interesting feeling. By the way, I think I'm just gonna sail back and just sell this stuff because I'd rather just talk, and we can just hang out on the ship or something while sailing. So you say I never even thought about people tucking with diving. That's wild. Yeah. My favorite aspect of the game is tucking. Even if I'm not trying to steal stuff, like just hiding on someone's ship, it's just a fun experience, and that's really ruined with season 11. Not only like for trying to go and hide on people's ships before they start a voyage, but let's say about like the raid voyages. Let's say someone goes and does a skeleton fort. Back in the old days, it used to be that if you saw a skeleton fort cloud in the sky, you could sail to it, and someone would probably be either like just starting or like halfway done with that fort. Now, because they're able to dive right to it, they can get started immediately. They start doing the fort, and then you have stuff where it's like, by the time you get there, they're basically already done, so you can't even really tuck anymore. Another aspect of this that I have a problem with the diving mechanic in general is what Rare sold us on is, hey, there's going to be more treasure in the game because, treasure is easier to get, dive into things makes it easier. That's true and not true at the same time. Back before diving was a thing, people used to stack their treasure. So, they might go and do like multiple world events back to back and then have it all on their ship. Or they might do like back-to-back Legend of the Veils and have a huge stack of Athena chests or other stuff, even the Fort of the Dam. And some of that stuff, is still there. People still like to do the For the Dam and they kind of repeat that. But I've seen less and less of the For the Dam over time. But with the raid voyages or just diving for voyages in general, it makes it so that you can't keep that loot on your ship anymore, which is a good safety mechanic so that people aren't just like diving and getting away when they're being chased in that respect. But the flip side of that is if you go and attack someone's ship, you're going to get far less treasure than you used to on average because they're only going to have a little bit on them at a time because they have to keep selling if they want to dive again. And I've experienced this myself. There is times that like I'm doing the raid voyages and I would like to do the Sea Fort raid voyages. And if it were up to me, I would just, dive and, keep going and doing a few Sea Forts before selling because I'd rather just, do that. I think that's a lot more fun. But that's not possible anymore. If you want to do the Athena Sea Fort, you have to dive to it. And if you dive to it, you have to sell your treasure. So that's really that aspect of it, and it's the thing that I think is that and the tucking aspect are the worst parts of it. Like you said, it's less treasure, but worth the same, if not more gold. Not sure if you're talking about that from what I was talking about before, or with this aspect of people selling often, because people having to sell more often makes it so that there's less treasure overall, even considering like the reduced treasure of season 11. Just the fact that like it used to be that people would stack multiple voyages or world events all together, whereas now that's not really a thing anymore. When I finish selling this stuff, I'll go ahead and talk about the season pass and the plunder pass. However, I will say with the plunder pass, I covered the ship and did like a whole review of that, showing every aspect of it in a video I think last week. So you can go check that out if you're interested in the ship set and seeing that review. But I guess I'll go ahead and talk about the regular season pass, because really the only thing that I care about with the season pass is that it's really just the frog lantern that I think I care about and anyone else cares about. And I think the frog lantern is really great. Like, this thing is really cool and fun looking. And I love like the little like almost like firefly aspects, like kind of flying around it. I think that's really cool. And then it just looks awesome with the different flames of fate. Other than that, I think some of the like the Medusa type stuff is cool. Like the little hairs with the snakes in them and stuff. I think that will be pretty cool looking with the stone curse next season. But I thought the season pass as a whole was just kind of lackluster, and I thought the plunder pass was pretty bad. The only reason I got the plunder pass, to be honest, other than to do a review on it, is because you were able to get the 1,000 ancient coins from like that and the season pass. So it made sense to me to get it, but I didn't like either of them really. Sorry, with people selling is what I meant. I get what you're saying though. I agree with you. Okay. Yeah, I figured. I know it's a little bit delayed, so I just figured I'd answer it both ways. I guess we'll go ahead and I didn't realize I was Emissary 3. That's kind of crazy that it goes up. I've noticed that the Emissary grades, I feel like, go faster than I used to. I might be imagining that, but I thought it, especially for Athena, I thought it took longer. Like, I only did one part of the Legend of the Veil. And I'm just finding it a little too difficult to like, kind of concentrate on that and talking. So we'll go ahead and just kind of take a seat and just hang out and talk for a bit. What else is really with everything? Okay, so I guess in terms of the trading company expansion, that is another aspect that I think was pretty great with season 11, which is why I think it stands out compared to like season 10 or season 9. If I were to rank them, I'd say it's like season 11 at the top, then season 9, and then season 10. And that's mainly just due to like what impacts my day-to-day gameplay. Season 10, I'll do the Skull of Siren song, but most of it just has no impact on my day-to-day gameplay. The guilds have really no effect on anything. And save for Seas, I really don't touch at all. Season 9, I think, is great for some of the stuff it did, especially with the harpoon being able to just basically grab it and put it next to you. That is a huge time saver. Uh, but it's the biggest problem with all of them is while Season 10 had new stuff to do, it wasn't anything that anyone really cared to do. The Skull of Siren song is usually uncontested every time I've tried it. And Season 9 and 11 didn't add any new gameplay. So finally getting more Skeleton Curse cosmetics was great, which they added some each season. um, was that Season 12 that they're adding it? I must have missed that. Or did they add that more in Season 11? I don't think I was paying attention to the cosmetics specifically for the Skeleton Curse. So you can let me know about that. Yeah, I think Season 11. This is part of the other reason why I didn't make video. Not only did I want to talk about it, like with y'all in chat and everything, I thought that would be a lot more fun. There's just not much to talk about with Season 11. It's really just kind of a dud season. It's really one of those seasons where, hey, we knew PlayStation was going to be added at the end of this. We knew the game was going to get better after Season 11. They told us and promised us that Season 11 was like the last foundational update for, preparing the game for the new players. So, it was not an exciting season. And it wasn't exciting even the first day. Usually with like a season, like the first like leading up to the season, and then like the first month and a half, I would say, all right, a lot really exciting. Then like like another month after that, it's like, okay, I'm fine, but I'm kind of getting ready for something new. And then like the last like half a month towards the end of the season, you're just kind of like, okay, give me something new. I'm really excited for what's coming next. With Season 11, I was already in that last category where I was like, okay, I just need Season 12 to come out because Season 10 was a dud. Season 9 was like a drag. It took way too long. It needed something. And honestly, if we're being honest, if we're talking about like what they could have done better with Season 11, I understand it takes time to like develop new features. Like obviously everything that we're getting in Season 12 is a lot of great stuff. And that takes time to make. There's things they could have done with Season 11 outside of what they already did that would fundamentally change the game and reinvigorate some of the aspects of the game. They did that with the raid voyages. I think that reinvigorated stuff like the skeleton forts, being able to dive to them and do like the whatever your trading company that you're doing, getting only that specific trading company loot. That's something that reinvigorated those things in the game. And even just, the expansion to the trading companies in general is a way to somewhat reinvigorate those because it gave you a purpose to doing that stuff. But the biggest thing like that I could think of off the top of my head of what they could do to really reinvigorate this stuff that would be an easy fix, honestly, is with the Hourglass mode. Added in Season 8, it hasn't really had much change at all since then. And I know it's had major cheating problems and stuff that people have talked about. I have not experienced it that much, but I also don't play it that often. Mainly because, and I think the thing that they could change is it needs a time limit. And I think it needs like a shrinking radius of fighting area. Because the problem that... Did y'all hear that? I don't know. The problem with the PvP mode is you can go and play it and maybe your battle lasts 10 minutes and that's great. Other times you get in it and it could last 4 hours and you're just like, I thought I was just doing something that was like a fun, fast, quick battle. And it makes me really miss Arena. I don't think we're going to get Arena back, but the best thing with Arena is that it had a time limit on it. and you could predictably say, okay, I can play another round of this because it will take, X amount of time. With PvP mode, I don't even touch it anymore because if I have half an hour to an hour to play, I cannot guarantee that, another round in the hourglass would, let me, if I'd have time to do it. And what you don't want to do is, give up and just like let the other person sink you, because if you do that, you lose any sort of progression that you've had for that time that you're playing the hourglass. So let me hop back in the chat and just kind of look at some of these questions. Fernando asks, I just got my own ship and I can't put any trinkets on my boat. That's a little bit odd. You might have it disabled in the options. I didn't know you could disable it in the gameplay settings. That might be what's happening. I would also say if you haven't tried it out yet, maybe restart your game and like load back in. It might just be something that's like buggy right now. There's been a lot of bugs with this recent update that they had. Open crew is broken, other stuff's broken. It's very surprising that they would release an update that bad. Exactly a time limit or shrinking circle is essential. The grind to skeleton curse was horrible, and I don't even want to grind the ghost curse. See, that's my problem. Like, I would love to grind for the skeleton curse and the ghost curse, and the PvP mode seems like something that would be perfectly suited to me. I can play it solo. It has like its own progression system. I can basically gain Athena or Reaper, Emissary, reputation, and all that stuff. So it's like the perfect mode for me, and I was really excited for Season 8 when it came out. But then as I played it, I'm just like, I don't want to spend 4 hours doing this. So, yeah, exactly. Like the grind is too much without a time limit or a shrinking circle. And if they did a time limit, I don't think we need a shrinking circle, honestly. The time limit would be fine, but I think the circle that they have right now for the PvP battle is just so big that I've spent so many times where the person's just running around the circle and you just have to keep chasing them, and it just gets boring. Yeah, and I see some people talking about the trinket stuff on the ship. Yeah, so stuff like that. I'm sure there's other things that I might not be thinking of. There's other little things that probably would not take too long to develop. I'm not a game developer. I develop apps and stuff, but I'm not a game developer, so I don't want to say, okay, it's this easy to do or whatever. But something like a time limit or a shrinking circle shouldn't take that long to develop, as opposed to, say, a wholly new feature or something like that. And I think there's other things that they could do across the game to make other aspects more interesting. Make something with the, I don't know, Tall Tales. Do something with that to like make it so that's a little bit more replayable. I don't know. He said the Hourglass game mode did help me become better at PvP in the game, but it also mind-numbing when you get hour-plus long fights to lose or win by your opponent, lagging and backsplashing. Yeah, another thing that just came to mind, I talked about it in a video a while ago, is that I think if you did the time limit and you run out of time, it could do something where, say, no one gets like a win or a loss. It's just more of like a draw. And then you got the allegiance based off how much damage you've done to the other opponent. So that would include stuff like the ship damage, as well as how many times like you defeated your opponent or whatever. And I think that would make it way more fair. I think it would also help with the lost farmers. I know that's been an issue. If it was able to have a thing where you could basically tie, you could kind of not remove the lost farming, but maybe like reduce how much you get from it, so that it at least gives them more of a reason to put up a fight and then lose that way. I don't know. I think that would be very helpful for that mode. Um, but honestly, like Rare can say all they want, it's not a replacement for Arena at all. It's a PvP mode, but it's like a completely different mode. It's like saying, you're going from, you know, playing Sea of Thieves, or I won't use Sea of Thieves. I'll say like you playing Call of Duty, and then you go into a battle royale with like Fortnite or something. They're both, PvP fighting games, but they're nowhere the same. So that's my thought with that. I know this is mainly supposed to be talking about season 11, but that that to me seems like an easy slam dunk. That if they had done that for season 11, not only would you have like the raid voyages, that would be somewhat new-ish feeling, not really a new gameplay feature, but it feels new just from the small tweaks that they did with some of it, with like the being able to do it based off a trading company and stuff. That would be another thing that I'd be like, okay, maybe it's not new features, but it basically unlocks things that I either wasn't willing to do before or just had no interest in doing. Um, yeah. So I think that covers a lot of season 11. Feel free to put in any like other questions you have in the chat if there's like other stuff outside of season 11 that you want to talk about. I'm fine with, just continuing the conversation outside of that. That's fine with me. Um, just out of curiosity, how excited are y'all for season 12? Do you think it's going to be a great season, or is it kind of another dud in your opinion? Me personally, I'm pretty excited for it. I think it's going to be a big change to just how the game feels. But I will say I think it's going to be a lot harder for solo players. It is going to be a massive change, especially with like the harpoon boarding and the Horn of Fair Winds that basically will blow air into your sails to make you go faster. I can totally imagine a scenario where you have a galleon behind you with the wind collar blowing into the sails, and they're catching up to you even though you're against the wind, and then they harpoon your ship and they start coming across. So I'm excited for it, not gonna lie. I think, a little bit of chaos is what can help make the game more fun. But I don't know, like season 11, I'm just saying, I don't know, playing solo is going to be much more of a challenge. Season 11 has just been so buggy, feels lazy and sloppy. They even left those test voyages in where you could dig up chest of fortunes. Shoot, I didn't know you could do that. I'm guessing they probably got rid of it now. But, oh dang, I forgot to drop that off. I didn't hear about that where you could do the test voyages. That's interesting. I will say I really do like this UI. I think the UI is nice. While I do miss talking to the trading company representatives, like this just feels better than a lot of their UI decisions recently. Oh, by the way, another thing they could have done to make season 11 better is fix the UI across the board. Like honestly, that the home page trying to get onto my ship just takes way too long to just get into the game. Season 12 will definitely change the meta. It's scary but exciting at the same time. I feel the exact same way. I think the meta changes are good. I think it's always going to be scary when changes like that happen. I think it's the same thing when the double gunning. They didn't disable double gunning, but they made it a little bit harder to do with season 10. People were really upset about that. I think it's a good thing for the game. Changing up the meta is not necessarily a bad thing. Always. Sometimes it can be, but I think like in that case it was a good thing to do. And I think this is going to be a good thing. We've seen meta changes in the game in the past too with stuff like adding the chain shot in. It used to be that your mass couldn't go down. It would just be that you shoot the ship and then, it would start sinking. Once they added the ability to shoot down your mass, like that made it harder. That was another thing that made it harder for solo players because you had to like worry about dealing with that. But it was so much more engaging. Um, so yeah, that's kind of my thought with that. Um, oh, I don't know if I mentioned it yet. But so basically, one of my plans for the new season is doing a new season of Play Like a Pro. It's something that maybe the newer viewers probably don't know about, but I did that a few years ago. And essentially, it's just like a handful of guides covering different aspects of the game. And basically, the plan is for this season of Play Like a Pro is to cover all the new tools and changes that are coming in season 12. So I'm pretty excited for that. I'm about like halfway done um, with making it, and those are going to be rolling out during. Um, I'm hoping to basically do it so that a new video comes out every day of the week starting tomorrow. We'll see if that happens. I'm hopeful that that's going to happen. Um, but that is something that I'm pretty excited to have come out, and I think will hopefully be helpful to people, especially the newer players. But yeah, I'm curious if anyone's doing this school fort up here. I'm gonna go check it out, and if there's no one doing it, I might go ahead and call the stream at that point. But I'll keep answering questions and chats as long as y'all keep chatting. But it's been pretty fun. Just hanging out, talking about the game. I'm thinking about maybe streaming more often. I stopped streaming for a while, but I'm thinking maybe start getting back into it. Maybe doing like a weekly stream. Bone Core is my favorite new addition coming in season 12. Can't wait to watch your Play Pro video on that. Yep, that's definitely going to be something that is going to be coming, and I'm very excited for that because I love the throwables in the game. If you see in my gameplay videos, you know I use like the blunder bombs and fire bombs basically all the time. So having a new throwable is definitely a great meta change, and I'm very interested to see how it acts. It would be really cool if it could do stuff like repair your ship. So if you're playing solo, just like throw down the skeletons on your own ship and have it like start repairing the ship or whatever, or even shooting cannons. But I don't think it does any of that. When we get to Flameheart ship, though, when you take over that, the skeletons will do all that stuff. So that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I think. What do I have for tomorrow? I think tomorrow's video for like the first episode of Play Like a Pro is going to be. I want to say it's the tucking video. I think it's that. I had a tucking video that I did in the past, but this one's going to be like an updated version and everything. Saying that I reckon double gunning with blunder snipe will still be meta, but I can't wait for. Yeah, I'm really hoping that the double gunning meta gets reduced. Like once people start using new weapon types, I'm hopeful that maybe things will change for the better. And like for me, I think like something like the double barrel pistol or the flintlock is going to be a huge thing for people that are used to double gunning. Because like for me, I'm someone that really likes the pistol in the game, so I could see myself adapting to that and then keeping like a sword or the daggers on at all times. This thing is just lagging a good amount. Um, I'm just gonna go ahead and just anchor and we'll just sit on the ship so we don't have to keep dealing with the frame drops and stuff. I'm sure that's not very fun to watch. But yeah, the double gunning meta is not something that I've ever liked. I've always disliked it in the game. And I don't think double gunning should be banned completely, but I do think it should be similar to what happened in Fortnite, where they had the double pumping, where essentially what they did was when you shot the gun and you had like two shotguns on, there's a short delay after shooting one and switching to the other. That's what they should do with double gunning. I think it's just too quickly when you're switching between. For me, the blunderbuss needs a nerf. Needed to buff pistol. I could see a buff to the pistol, but personally, I don't have a problem. I actually don't have a problem with either the blunderbuss or the pistol. What I have a problem with is the hit reg issue. So the main problem that I have with the pistol is that oftentimes I will shoot the pistol, I will get a direct shot, and then I'll shoot again, and 2 pistol shots should take out the opponent at full health. So if it doesn't take them out with that, then you know something happened with hit reg. I think that's a huge issue because if you're a blunderbuss I've found has hit reg issues, but oftentimes is a little bit more reliable, which is sometimes why I switched to it. But I think that's the biggest thing. I don't necessarily think it needs a buff. I think it really just needs that hit reg to be fixed in the game. Blunderbuss can be annoying, obviously, if you get tapped with it, but that's kind of what it is. I think the one thing that I could see with the blunderbuss being nerfed, make it longer to reload in between shots. I think that's the one area that I'd say could be nerfed, but I think keeping the damage the same and making it more of like a, hey, this is your one shot to get before you have to wait a bit to get reloaded again. And I don't really use the sniper too much, but I think the sniper is probably fine where it's at. The sword, I think, could get a buff, though. The sword feels a little bit dull. And I think that's also a hit reg issue where I'll be, using the sword slashing at an opponent. And it should take only 4 slashes to take the opponent down. But I've often seen, especially with Season 11 and 10, it's gone up to 6 slashes for someone at full health when they're not eating and everything. And to be able to take them out. So that's an issue that I see. I am very curious. I feel like daggers, while I'm super excited for them, could be massive hit reg issues because if you think about it, you miss a shot, it has to be persistent in the world. So now there's more things being tracked when it couldn't already track the normal weapons and stuff in the game. So I'm a little surprised that it's taken this long for them to try to fix the hit reg. There's still really nothing new with it, and they talked about the new projectile method that they were testing 2 years ago. Nothing really came of that. So I don't know. It's a little disappointing. What else we got? Anyone else got any more questions or thoughts about anything going on with Sea of Thieves? Let me see. Just gonna take a look at some of this stuff. By the way, if any of y'all don't have a guild, you're welcome to join our guild. This is the Outcast one that I have for the channel. The way to join it is basically join the Discord. That there should be a link inside the description of the video or any of the other videos. But join that, and then you can just go and I think I have a channel or a post in one of the channels about it, and you can just go in and basically send me your gamer tag, and I'll add you and give you an invite to it. So for those of you that don't have any guilds, let me know, and we can get you added in here. I think it's hard. The hard thing with the guilds is that it really requires you to have a lot of players together for it. So if you're someone that like me that plays solo, and I'm sure many of you play solo or maybe only with a handful of friends, there's a little benefit with the guilds. So I see a few things that came through. I think the update is broken because it started closed crew session in high seas, but random players still join. That's interesting. I wonder how that happened. I haven't seen that as an issue. I've played a little bit since the update on Thursday. From what I've seen, though, open crew is the one that's having trouble. I say they had to disable it. Ooh, what's that? Oh, lame. Oh, you want to know the bug that annoys the crap out of me? Is that, and this has been persistent for not a year, but I think at least in Season 10, the name not showing up on the ship crest. What's the point of, having your own ship and naming and stuff if I never can see my name on it? I feel like this happens a majority of the time when I'm playing. It's not a one-off issue. It's almost every time. And even on the back here. What do you think of guilds? Feels bare bones to me. Yeah, You know, the biggest problem with guilds is like there's no gameplay value added with it at all. And I was just talking about like, if you even if you're someone that has like a good group of friends, you play on a gallon every time, you have like three other people that play Sea of Thieves, that's not enough for a guild. Like the only way guilds really work is if you have people that you like to talk to or play with that are on that don't play at the same time as you. Because the moment they play at the same time as you, there's like no value added. It's just another emissary, or whatever. It's not, you don't even have access to the emissary ledger until guild level 15, which I think is also a big mistake on their part. I think it should be unlocked either from the very beginning or very close to the beginning. And I think another aspect of guilds, similar to what I was talking about with the PvP stuff, one thing that they could change to massively improve it is make the guilds and safer seas integrated with each other so that you can have like your own private servers where there's no progression, and you could have anyone that's in the guild all hop in and play together. And then you could do stuff like you could have events that you run through it. We could do something where it's like we want to have like preset battles where everyone's battling with each other or something. Or one of the things I wanted to do is I thought it would be cool to have like almost like a preset fighting matches where like you have like two opponents that are battling each other, and then I kind of follow around with like a camera, like acting as like the camera and stuff, and like almost just like having like a fighting match. That would be really cool, but it's too hard to do that in high seas. Like you have to get like basically both crews on at the same time and everything. It just doesn't really work out. So that was like the one area that they could have done with guilds that would make it so much better, and actually give a purpose to having a guild. I'm hopeful they expand it in the future, but I also don't see what they'd expand it to because it just seems ill-planned in my opinion. It doesn't seem like it made any sense to do. Yeah, the slower projectile, it's worse hit reg, so knives will probably be real bad for hit reg. Yep, I'm a little bit worried about the throwing knives. I'm hopeful. I know they've been testing it for a long time, so I'm hopeful that's not going to be an issue. But you never really know until it gets into the public release. Hey, what's up, Dave? You said you're on PS5. So when I've had no friends join, they wedge the ship tight when I'm selling, so it takes longer, and a few times got yanked because of it. Yeah, that's definitely new player type stuff. But I'm hoping you're enjoying the game. I'm assuming you got the premium edition so you can play early, which is pretty cool. I think the worst part, honestly, about Sea of Thieves releasing that update on Thursday is like, if you're someone that paid, what is it? I think it's like $70 or $80 for the premium edition compared to the regular version that doesn't have the like 5 days early access. You basically got like the most buggy version of the game for your like extra time with it, and it'll probably be fixed by the time the regular release is. So if you got like the cheaper $40 version, you probably would have gotten a better game to start off with. But like obviously I'm in here playing and it's fine. So hopefully everyone's enjoying it if they did want to get that early time with it. Someone says, I've always been baffled by the lack of unique, funny ship names on the seas. Yeah, a lot of the times the ship names get banned because of like what they've said on them. I don't know. I go with more basic stuff. I don't really do any like the silly, funny names, which I don't have any problem with them. But I just like kind of, like stuff like I can show you what mine look like. Oh, not that. If we go in here, stuff like the Outcast is obviously my flagship one. I would say Crusader, Flame, Odyssey. This is someone else that put theirs in. And the Searcher. So I like to go with like the something type of name. Guild Wars, yeah, those would be awesome. Especially if you imagine if you could do like rival guilds. So like you like have like another guild that you're like fighting against. You could have like both teams come up, um, and like maybe you have like a server that's split or something. So like you could get like 3 ships of each type, and then it's like you're automatically in an alliance with people in your guild, and it's everyone are just fighting against each other. There's just so many great possibilities with guilds that, and they just did nothing with it. And they even added safer seas at the same time. And honestly, the whole guilds release was like so flawed from the beginning. Not only did it have no integration with safer seas, so it was like that was completely separate. You didn't get any reputation for doing the Skull of Siren song until like I think it was all the way to like the last month or something. Like they waited so long to add it so you could get reputation for doing the Skull of Siren song with the guilds, which is so flawed in my mind. Um, Dave said yes, paid $60. The outpost should have a no fire zone when you don't have a emissary flag raised or increased safer seas payout. Um, Sorry, Dave. I'm gonna disagree with that. That's part of the game, honestly. Like the there's no like safe zones in the game. I talked about this when Skull and Bones came out because that was interesting to me because it did have safe zones, which it makes a little bit more sense in that game because there's such a vast amount of enemy ships everywhere. And in that game, you really don't like make alliances. It feels like I guess maybe you do. I didn't really get too far into tell, but with Sea of Thieves, anything can happen. You could become friends. They could just sail right by you, but you always need to be watching out. And if you're not willing to do that, then there's safer seas for you. But the reason for the decreased payout is because you don't have the risk that's associated with it. With the risk, you get higher reward. That's also how the emissaries work. So the reason we got the emissary system in the first place is because people wanted a way to take on more risk in the game and get higher reward. That's why the Reaper's Bones were introduced at the same time as emissaries, because they were fundamentally connected from the very beginning. Uh, so, not trying to come at you, but I've talked about this many times in the past, especially when Safer Seas first released, and people had the same opinion, saying that Safer Seas needs to have no restrictions on it, should be the exact same amount, and that just doesn't make sense. Okay, I see a few messages in here. Saying going back to reworking how you load into the game. Like you said, it takes forever to get into a server. They should make a guild hall that you instantly load into, that then you can vote in there. Yeah, honestly, like I feel like one cool thing they could have done with like either guilds or captaincy, probably captaincy would be better, is like where you could customize your loading screen. So you like maybe customize like the background and like have everything there. And then what it should do is have like a quick start menu that's like on the side, on like the left side, where it has like your last used ship, because that's probably the ship you're going to just load into each time, unless you really want to change and do something else. But usually I go on the same ship every time because I'm trying to progress, the milestones or whatever on it, like this ship that I'm on right now. So that should just be like a quick start. You have that there, you click it, it automatically has the preloaded settings that you had the last time you played. Because I'm so over the whole like closed crew or open crew thing. Like I don't want to. If I want to change that, I'll change it when I get into the game. But just make it closed crew until I open it up. And just all the other BS stuff that they put in front of you. And then they added more crap to getting into the game with like, okay, now they have like the banner message that shows like what's coming up, or it'll show like what's in the Pirate Emporium and other stuff. I'm just like, I don't need to see that. I already know what's coming. If you want to put that message somewhere, put it somewhere else. Honestly, I'd rather just make the UI type stuff, move that to stuff that's like in game and be integrated into the world. One of the things I've talked about before is like I would love to have on every outpost like a message board that you could go up to and you could see all that kind of stuff. So you could go up to it and you could see like, okay, here are the upcoming features. Here's like what just came out in the recent update. Here's like the latest thing added to the outpost shop. Maybe here's like the latest voyage or something. Or hey, maybe you could even say like what world events are active, or like what emissaries are active in that server. Who knows? But a message board would be a lot cooler. It wouldn't, disrupt you from trying to play the game because it would be your choice whether or not you want to go engage with it. And it would also just, help with the experience because it'd be, part of the experience of the game, not like just another UI feature that kind of feels lazily added. Okay, I'm gonna catch up here. Blue Shark says guild hideouts with PvP enabled would be nice. Yeah, I would love guild hideouts. That would be really cool. I talked about in the past also maybe having like captain islands where you could like have your own little island you could customize and stuff, and then that's where you spawned in. So instead of an outpost, you'd spawn in on your own island. I don't know why they haven't tried that yet, because I feel like that would be a slam dunk feature and would be way better than guilds was added. When the game was first coming out, the one of the planned features that was supposed to come out for Pirate Legends was when you became a Pirate Legend, you'd be able to sail out of Athena's fortune into the world, and your ship would spawn in Athena's hideout. So, kind of keeping with that idea, that's kind of something I would like. It would be nice as like a feature, like, okay, hey, I've reached this next milestone in the game. So I'm like at this level or something. Make it like another level past captaincy. Okay. To be honest, I think Rare's biggest flaw is that they come up with brilliant ideas with so much potential, like sea forts, then don't expand them. I agree and disagree. I think the sea forts example is a little bit an odd one because I think the sea forts are perfectly fine how they are right now. The only thing I'd say is they have a little bit less treasure with Season 11 than I would like. We talked about earlier in the stream how with Season 11 they reduced the amount of treasure you get, but they raised the value. But even with that raised value, it still doesn't feel like the sea forts have enough treasure. So that'd be the only thing that I'd say with sea forts. But I could see them do stuff in the future with the sea forts, like what we got with that one adventure. I think it was the Return of the Dam adventure, where you went to the different sea forts and you got to raise a flag for either the Athena's side or the Reaper's side, and that was pretty cool. I think that would be something that you could maybe bring back, maybe make it a voyage or something. I also, I don't know if I talked about this in a video before, but I think there was a huge missed opportunity with the raid voyages. I think they should have made it so that the Athena voyages, that for the raid voyages, make those harder than all the other raid voyages. So if I go and do an Athena raid voyage for a sea fort, that should be a harder version of that sea fort and give me more Athena treasure than what it currently does. I think it should be something where it's like, if you're doing the Athena version of it, you get so much more. I'm going to jump down and just answer this because he said, imagine taking over sea fort and defending it, though. That would be awesome. I've had experiences like that. And that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to say, like, they need to expand it more. Because, like, if you defeat the sea fort, it doesn't respawn unless you leave. So you basically can hang out, make it your own personal space and stuff. And I've had times where people like would come up and I used the sea fort to defend it. And yeah, I think it's just a cool little spot. I think there's probably more cool ways they could integrate it for sure. There's just nothing popping in my head of like what they could do to make it better. Let me go ahead and jump back up to see. I think the last message we're left off on is Dave. Sorry, but the shrines have a safe loot zone. Only you and your crew can collect from the mermaid. So that I'm fine with. The outpost is what I was talking about, like not liking the idea of having a safe zone. And I wouldn't even say the shrines or the treasuries are safe zones per se. It's more so like you're just storing it somewhere, than to retrieve it later. And I think that's one of the great features that they have with the Siren Shrines and treasuries. Blue Shark says if they did, Sovereign Harpoon Tux would die. Yeah, I'm not sure. You can if you want to expand on that. I'm not sure what you're referring to with that. I like doing Sovereign Tux with that. It's a pretty exciting thing to do because it's like a lot of treasure all in one spot. but it isn't the same as like tucking for other stuff in the past. I think tucking in the past for like treasure that people were selling was a lot more fun. I've also seen people get like a lot more angry with tucking for the sovereign tent as opposed to tucking for like the old outposts and stuff. So I'm not sure why people would be upset with that. Dave, the risk. Zumel says, Dave, the risk with the shrine is you leave your boat out in the open for anyone to sink. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's like it balances itself out with having the mermaid hold it onto it, and also gives you an opportunity. So a lot of times, like what I'll do, if I see someone doing a siren shrine or treasury, what I'll do is I'll go and board their ship and I'll tuck somewhere, and then I'll wait for them to reveal the treasure with the mermaid. So really, the thing that you have to worry about with that is if you're doing a siren shrine or treasury, you need to go and check your ship before you grab the treasure. That way, no one can attack you. Or if they do attack you, they won't get any treasure if either you lose or they lose. Dave says, I know how the shrines work. I'm just saying that High Seas has safe zones for loot. That's really the only safe zone for loot, Dave. Dave, it's not a safe zone. Is what I'm saying. Your loot is never safe. Leaving it in the mermaid does nothing to keep it from. So I will disagree, and I'm kind of in between. I wouldn't call it a safe zone, but I also say it is somewhat protected from other people. But it's more of a transportation device, really, if you think about it. It's mainly so that you're not carrying the loot all the way up, not like it's having to swim it up and down to your ship. And I wouldn't say it's safe. Basically, like the example that I was just giving a second ago about, needing to check your ship before retrieving the treasure. And I think that's the way that you keep the risk aspect in the game. So I don't have any problem with. I really like the mermaid feature that they have for that. Imagine taking over. Oh yeah, I already read that one. Either way, Dave says either way the need some anti-grief in places otherwise the player base would just drop again. It needs to change with the Dave, I disagree. The game was made. It's gone strong for 6 years and grown because of the unique aspects of the game. Safe zones really ruin the experience, I feel like. I don't think safe zones are a good thing to have in general. Oh, I'm being attacked. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I think I have that audio off for the game. But safe zones just aren't a thing that I don't. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, if you want a game like with safe zones, I would say go something like Skull and Bones, to be honest. Tucking is just spawn camping done smart. Tucking isn't spawn camping though either. So I disagree with that too. I'm just gonna go to the outposts and we can just kind of keep talking there. Griefing as part of the game is what Merton's saying. Your loot is never safe until it's sold. It's what makes the game exciting. I promise you that is why people are still playing today. Yeah, I agree. I think that's also why I was kind of against Safer Seas, because I think, personally, what I think the game is somewhat boring in terms of its, voyage and stuff. I think the voyages have gotten way better over time, but the main part of the game was having fun with your friends and the excitement and the unpredictability of playing with other players. It's not like any other game that I've really played. Like, you play something like Fortnite, it's very predictable. There's no chance in Fortnite where you can go up and you don't know if, like, you are going to become friends with that person, if they're just going to go away, or if you're going to have to fight them, because it's always going to be the same thing in Fortnite, pretty much. Sea of Thieves, it's just so unique, and that's part of what makes it fun. If you start doing safe zones, and that was also kind of what I was talking about at the very beginning with the diving almost creates a safe zone in some ways for a temporary bit of time, and it hurts the tucking aspect of the game. Um, oh yeah, I get what you're saying, Blue Shark, about the making outposts safe zones. Um, it would ruin tucking at outposts, and I feel like the diving mechanic has ruined somewhat of tucking at outposts in general. Because it used to be if you tucked, one of the reasons you tuck at an outpost is you wait for a ship to stop by or something so that you could hop on. It'd be an easier way to get onto the ship. Um, Let me see what else. Totally meant to do that. Wasn't reading chat while crashing. uh, the whole purpose of PvE and Sea of Thieves is to bring players together for shenanigans or PvP. The PvE on its own would be boring. I think the PvE can be fun. I think stuff like Tall Tales, not all of the Tall Tales, but a lot of the Tall Tales are fun. Let me go ahead and sit. And there's people that I know like just the PvE stuff. I'm more on the PvP side and really just love tucking and just kind of hanging out on ships and like, strategizing how to, best go about the situation. And I like the challenge of not having my ship with me and being just like on my own, and like what I have on me. Um, so yeah. I don't know how to pronounce that, that whole username, but I would say EST Gaming. You just said you just started playing on PS5. Welcome to the Seas. I hope you enjoy the game. Um, if you tuck on a boat, it's camping. Just be honest. Why else do people do it? I see the whole thing with like, if you're tucking on a ship, maybe there's some people that would spawn camp, but really, if you're tucking, you're probably just trying to steal loot, and that's not the same as um, spawn camping. So I don't really get that viewpoint. Um, Zoosmel says Dave tucking is a strategic way to acquire loot. You wait until the right opportunity to strike, and you are able to sneak on board and hope to not get caught. Yep, I agree. Um, that's what's the fun part to me about tucking in general is that really the whole idea with tucking. Whereas like say if you just go straight in with your ship, that's more of like a guns blazing type of maneuver. And really the best part about Sea of Thieves is there's so many different variety of play styles that this game incorporates. So if you're the guns blazing type that you want to just go in and start firing cannons at someone, you can do that. If you're someone like me who wants to be a little bit more stealthy, a little bit more strategic with what you're doing, then the game works for you as well. If you're someone that just likes doing the PvE stuff, you can do that too. No one says you. One of the disagreements I'll have with the PvP people is saying that you don't owe anyone a fight. I don't think if someone's like doing a skull fort and they go and they start sailing away with it, they are free to run with their treasure. And I might be like, oh dang, I want to catch up to them, but I don't say like, oh, you owe me a fight, which I see a lot of the PvP people say, where it's like, why won't you fight them, or why aren't they fighting or whatever? They should have to fight you, and I just disagree with that. So I think the thing that Dave, I hope that you will see once you start playing more is that this game is almost like a world unto itself. It's not just like a one size fits all for the game. It's really like anyone can come in here with any type of play style and just have fun in this cool world that lets you do tons of stuff. Brett says it's not letting me play. You probably have, if you're on PlayStation, if that's what you're talking about, you probably have the version that doesn't have the 5 days early access. The game comes out for full release on PlayStation on Tuesday with Season 12. Dave says, I never said get rid of PvP, just add some balance. And if the player base is good, why did Rare bring it to PS5 after all these years? Why wouldn't they? I mean, the player base has been fine, but it's always good to get more players. I mean, I don't really see how that's an argument. That's like saying that the game was dying and PlayStation was like the saving grace for the game, which isn't true. Honestly, PlayStation 5 going to PlayStation probably did more to hurt the game in the long run than help the game, in the sense of we spent a year basically having to update the game to make the game easier for new players. When I started playing the game when it first launched, we didn't have diving mechanics. We didn't have, you know, sovereign tents to make selling easier. We didn't have a lot of this stuff, but it was still fun. We still enjoyed the game, and you know, I some people like a challenge, and that's not going to be everyone's, cup of tea. And I think if you stick with it and you learn how to get better, you will feel accomplished. There's like a lot of accomplishment feeling with the game. Um, and I don't really know what to say. It's like, if you want a game that's easy, you gotta go to a different game. Like, go to Assassin's Creed Black Flag if you want like a pirate game that you can like change the difficulty, make it easier. I don't know. I don't really know what else to say. Like, that's just it. Um, Someone says probably some more player people have the opportunity to play this wonderful game. Hope that helps. If you don't care for PvP, I would start with Safer Seas and work your way into becoming more comfortable with maneuvering your ship and PvE. Yeah, and that's the main reason they added Safer Seas. Safer Seas was, they said for a long time they weren't going to do PvE servers. I think that changed when they decided to go to PlayStation 5, which seems like what it was. And Saber Seas is really meant for the beginner players to get used to the mechanics of the game. It's almost like an extended tutorial rather than a new whole mode. That's also why when we were talking about like the guilds and stuff earlier, that's the reason why they didn't do like the whole, guild battles or guild stuff integrated with Safer Seas, because it was never really meant to be a mode that takes away from high seas. So I hope I don't lose my stuff when it fully launches on PlayStation 5. Yeah, you won't lose anything. Even the stuff that you got if you were playing during the beta, that will all carry over to the full launch. Blue Shark says, if someone is actively saving their ship, then it's spawn camping until they think is justified. Someone is actively saving their ship, and it's spawn camping until they think. Yeah. Yeah, spawn camping someone, like, if, you're trying to sink them, is fine. The only time I would say it's spawn killing is when you have a situation where, say, like, let's say there's two players, and you have one player that's bucketing the ship so that it doesn't sink, and then another person that just keeps killing the person spawning in. So they're basically making it so that it's an endless loop of their ship's never sinking, but they're always killing the person. That's what I call spawn camping. It's not spawn camping if the person's, coming in and you're just, trying to sink them. That's perfectly fine. And the only reason that people do that, like what I consider spawn camping, is really for the hourglass mode. Is usually where I see it, or just people that are trying to be cruel, I guess. It's not something that I do, and I don't really see it as being that fun. So, EST Gaming, don't worry, you'll log in with your Microsoft account. Yeah, that all carries over. Tyler says, biggest L of Season 11 is no more Athena gunpowder voyages. I miss easy mega kegs. Yeah, there's still the keg voyage, so if you go on your ship, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they did get rid of it. I haven't done it in a long time, but I thought they still had it. Let's take a look. Yeah, I guess I was wrong. I thought it was one of the legendary searches, but it's not. Yeah, that was the weird thing with Season 11. Like, a lot of the voyages that, were used to be staples, like the Run of Thieves Haven is one that I liked a lot. The fact that they got rid of that was odd in my opinion. I guess they just didn't want to have it updated, so. Yeah, why did they delete Run of Thieves Haven? That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I was a little disappointed when that happened. Because Because I actually like that voyage. It was nice to have something that was predictable. I was all kind of like in that uh, Run of Thieves Haven area, essentially. Um, I don't really see why they got rid of it, other than just, I guess, to declutter the voyages. Um, EST Game says spawn camping on a ship is ridiculous. It's this game about saving your ship. Uh, EST Gaming. So I don't know if you're trying to disagree with what I'm saying about that, but yes, you want to save your ship, but like if you're fighting someone and your way of basically trying to sink them is keeping them from repairing, that's not spawn camping. That's just trying to sink them. Really, the only time I think of spawn camping is if you're purposely going out of your way to keep their ship alive, so that for the purpose of killing them. That's the only time I would see it as spawn camping. Um, Tyler says, really, I use them to do them all the time. I'm pretty sure they're gone. Yeah, I didn't see them in there. I have to take another look to figure out. Yeah, I think they're gone for good. EST Game says, people will complain about anything at this point. Although I love the PvP. Yeah, the PvP is just so unique in this game. There's no game that gives me really that feeling of like sneaking on a person's ship and like hiding there. It's super fun when they have voice chat on and just kind of hearing like the funny things that are being said. Like, here's the thing, right? Talking doesn't even have to be like for stealing treasure. Like, obviously that's probably the main reason you're doing it, and that's fine. But like, I've had times where I have this one video on the channel talking about like the only thing I wanted to get is the Ghost Captain Skulls. This is when the Ghost ship voyages were first added to the game, and I found this crew that was doing it, and I was like just tucked on their galleon, and just hearing the conversations, like it just was cracking me up, and that's one of the reasons I love that video, is just hearing the reactions to stuff. Or like, it was so funny because I took the skull from their captain's quarters and I brought it out to the balcony where I was hiding. So the person came out, grabbed the skull, and was like, "Oh, I found it," blah blah blah. And I stood up, started attacking them, and they're just like screaming, "Ah, there's a person!" It's stuff like that. It's like the moments that you don't really get in other games. There may be other games that like have similar stuff, but it's nothing quite like Sea of Thieves, which is why I've stayed with the game for the 6 years since this came out. Tyler says, I think it's just because infinite mega kegs would be too OP. I have a feeling that the mega keg thing is probably just, they're trying to slim down the voyages that were in the game, make it a little bit easier to navigate, and probably to make it a little bit more special when you found them, like at the Fort of Fortune and stuff. No way, I didn't know they did that. Guess the costume you got for doing the Thieves Haven run is now very unique. Was there a costume for it? I don't even remember. If it's that yellow one, like the ugly one, then I'm kind of fine with, not having it. I think I still have access to buying it, but I'm not sure. They might have just changed the requirement for it, the costume. That would be my guess if they had something tied to it. Some of y'all got craziest usernames. It's hard for me to pronounce, but Zoomel that's just what I'm gonna say. I've had people spawn camp me in Hourglass and then TVDMing me. Actually gave me time to sync them. They would not let me sync, but it was their downfall. Yeah, that's the other thing, right? You might be getting spawn camped, but sometimes that works to your advantage. Like, I've had the exact same thing, where people might be spawn camping us just out of their own fun, which, that's like the one area that I would disagree with, where I'd say, like, hey, don't do that, it's kind of crappy. But a lot of times you could turn it around in your favor, so they've actually kept your ship alive, and you can take back control. It's hard, especially if it's like a bigger crew than you, but it's possible. It's also easier than it used to be. When I first started playing the game, especially for like the sloop, there'd be like only like a few handful of places that you could spawn in, so it was very predictable. They expanded that over time to make it harder to predict where the person's going to spawn in at. EST Game says that the game's kind of like Rust. Yeah, that's one of the games that kind of comes to mind. I never really got into Rust, but I could definitely see that being similar. Um, I still do think that Sea of Thieves is different in a lot of ways, but there is similarities between the PvP aspect in Rust and Sea of Thieves. Tyler says, stoked for season 14 new sneaky tools. That I'm super excited about, especially if they have that thing that they were talking about where you could like hide in a treasure chest and like the person could pick you up and carry you. That would be so awesome. I'm super excited. Mixel says you get the costume from another accommodation now. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. It was probably they switched it to something. They made the costume tied to turning in 30 Chest of Legends, so you can still get it. Yeah, I think that's why I have it like unlocked to be able to purchase, but I don't. I never bought it because I just don't like it. Blue Shark says also if you get spawn camp, you can just scuttle and change seeds. Yep, that's also an easy thing that you can do if you're don't want to try anymore. That's definitely something. Rip Thieves Haven, you shall be missed. Yeah, I missed that voyage, but I've had still some Athena voyages that still go there, so it's still kind of like it's still there, I guess. ASD Game is asking what's the best way to make money in the game. I think it just depends. It's hard to say. I think it depends on what your interests are. I think a lot of the voyages are probably fine. One of the good things with season 11 is they balanced it a lot. What I would recommend and what I prefer doing if you're trying to make money, first thing for money, I would say I would do like the Siren Treasuries. Those are pretty good to do it. Any of the raid voyages really are. For gold hoarders, I really like doing the treasure vaults. I think those are a lot of fun. For merchants, I would say I like doing the lost shipments. Those are pretty relaxing and get a pretty decent haul of money. Order of Souls is a little bit harder. I think probably the ghost ship battle is the best thing that you could do if you're trying to make a good amount of reward. And then the Athena voyages have gotten a little bit more balanced recently, but I think the Veil, Legend of the Veil is probably the best one. So yeah, that kind of gives you a quick explanation of like some of the best ways to make money in the game. But it really just comes down to like what are you interested in doing? Because if the idea is you just want to make money, then it really comes down to like what kind of gameplay do you want? Do you want to have like, do you want to fight skeletons? You can go do like a Skull Fort raid voyage. That'll get you like a lot of money. You can do the Sea Forts pretty quickly, so you can do like back-to-back ones, and that can earn a good amount over time. So it's just up to you. Dave says the timer for spawning back on a sloop is so long. When I go solo, if I'm killed, my ship is sinking by the time I get back. Yeah, I mean, there's room to agree or disagree on that. Personally, I don't have a problem with it. I actually think it's pretty fast. It's pretty balanced between all the ships. So you actually spawn back the fastest when you're playing solo on a sloop, as opposed to someone like Alien, because they have like the times staggered for it based off the crew size. Tyler says, plus other crew used to be able to revive on your boat. They can't do that anymore. Also makes it harder to spawn camps, / easier to break spawn camps. Yes, that was a huge benefit of it. Obviously, it's, annoying when you're not able to revive your crewmate, but as a whole, I think that was a really great change for them to do with spawn camping as an issue, because it actually gave you a chance to take back control. They say best way to make money is now any of the higher tier raid voyages put emissary up and dive to the raid voyage, rinse and repeat, or if you want more risk, do the Fort of Dam. Yeah, Fort of Dam or Fort of Fortune, both of those are good. I think the Fort of Fortune might give more. I might be wrong on that, but that might be those are good ones to do. Anything with an emissary up too, you just want to have an emissary, and if you are willing to take the risk, Reaper emissary is going to give you the best amount of money unless you have a gilded emissary, mainly because you're allowed to sell all the treasure, so it's not specific to any trading company. So if you do a Reaper emissary, you can sell stuff for the merchants and gold hoarders, and all get that boosted reputation and gold. Tyler says, coffee. I got the caramel cold brew, very tasty. Yeah, I love this emote. I think it's a lot of fun. Can you make a season pass ranking? I talked about that a little bit at the beginning. I didn't do like a ranking. Oh, sorry. You're saying a ranking as like if you're meaning a ranking in terms of like ranking each season's season pass like against each other, that could be something interesting to do in the future. If you're just talking about like just reviewing the current season 11 season pass, I probably won't be doing the season 11 pass. I did talk about it a little bit earlier in the stream, but I might look at doing that for season 12. Dave says, if you're just getting used to the game on console, sail the islands and get messages in a bottle while killing red skellies. Yeah. That's one way to do it. I'd say it takes a little bit longer if you're trying to make money quickly, but that, it works, I guess. Takes 30 seconds or so on a sloop's solo, I checked. Yeah, 30 seconds isn't bad. I think it's quicker than that, though. I feel like I've had, like, honestly, usually, like, it's only a few seconds after the time I've loaded into the ferry to where the door opens. So I don't really notice that much of an issue. And it's a lot better than it used to be. It used to take a lot longer to, get back to your ship. Especially the loading times used to be longer. It also can depend on like what you're playing on. Like the PS5 and like the newer Xboxes should be faster. So that shouldn't be an issue, but that used to be an issue like on the Xbox One or older PCs. Tyler says the Chest of Fortune combinations was updated, gonna be back at the Fort of Fortune for season 12. So Fort of Fortune is gonna be back on the menu. Yep. Fort of Fortune. Actually, it's already updated now, so they updated that with Thursday's update. So yeah, if you're wanting to do that, you can go ahead and start doing that. And hot take, by the way, I think the Chest of Fortune should always stay at the Fort of Fortune. Like, it even makes sense, like, Chest of Fortune, Fort of Fortune. I think it should be there all the time. But I do like the idea that they were having with, like, having a special treasure item that, like, moves each season. I think that's still a cool concept. I just think the Chest of Fortune is, like, a treasure that makes sense as being special to the Fort of Fortune. Joseph says, I mean, comparison, like, this one is worse and this is best. So I did a ranking voyage video like 2 weeks ago. So you can check that one out. That covers all the voyages currently in the game. And if you want to get like really narrowed down to like, okay, this one makes this amount, this one makes this amount, here's like which ones are better. I've done a few videos on that. I would recommend taking a look at I did one on Lost Shipment Voyage versus the Ancient Voyage, so like the Merchant Voyage versus the Gold Hoarder one. That one I think is a really good one for that specific type of information. So those two videos I would recommend if you're looking for a comparison-wise, Joseph. So those should be pretty easy. You can just search it on the channel. And the ranking Voyage video of ranking everything together, that was like pretty recent, so... Tyler says, I thought the sloop was 10 seconds, galley was 30. I think it is. It feels very short. I think it's only 10 seconds for the sloop. And it depends on the crew size as well. I'm pretty sure it's dependent on, like, if you're solo on a sloop, it's shorter than if you are 2 people on a sloop. And it's basically their way of balancing it out. So if you're being attacked by a galleon and you kill someone on there, and they kill you, you can get back faster and hopefully I kind of, balance it out a little bit more based off that. Dave says maybe the timer is the console server side thing. And I think, Dave, you said you're on PS5 too, so it might just be a bug right now because that's so new over there. But I think it is just 10 seconds or something. It's pretty short for a solo player. Um, Tyler says, Keaton. Did I miss Keaton's? Oh, yeah, Keaton says they're already at the Fort of Fortune. Yeah. Tyler says, wild. I thought it would have moved at the start of season 12. That was the weird thing. I brought that up in the update video that I did on Thursday. That I thought it was weird. Some of the changes that we were getting that like usually don't come until the season update. I think the only reason they did it is because they had to update the game for PlayStation launch. So I think that's the only reason. I think they were just trying to like segment the update a little bit and have some of the stuff come out earlier. Fort of the Dam makes no sense. I didn't mind Fleet of Fortune. Yeah, Fort of the Dam was a bad idea. It basically made it so that it was player activated. Like, player activated Fort of the Dam is great, but having the Chest of Fortune there made it so that basically people were just like grinding that out to like get really high in the accommodation. So I didn't do that. I don't really. I'd rather just steal the Fort of the Dam rather than do it. But I know a lot of people were grinding that out to try to raise that accommodation up. I like the Fort of the Dam because it was Chest of Fortune on the man. Yep, like I was just saying. Some people like that. I think Chest of Fortune is more fun when it's not as easily accessible. By the way, the reason I don't really like it at the Fleet of Fortune this season is because I felt like that was just showing up way too often. Like I basically like half the time I'd load into the game, I always saw that fleet active, and I've always hated this with the fleet. It used to be like the fleet skeleton fleets would be like all over the place on the Sea of Thieves map. Like you'd have sometimes in the Devil's Roar, you'd have sometimes like different parts of the map. Now it's like only ever happens in that center area of the Sea of Thieves world next to Reaper's hideout. And that's I always found annoying. One, because it's annoying if you're trying to like go across the map because you either have to go through it or you have to go around it if you don't want to deal with it. And it also just makes it so that like it's not interesting when it's always in the same place and happening all the time. Dave says, I hope they add some quests for the Hunter's Call, like hunting a shark or a kraken. Yeah, I talked about that in a video a few weeks ago about an expansion to the Hunter's Call and like what I would want to see there. I think there's a lot they could do with the Hunter's Call. I just think they don't have any interest in updating it, which is kind of sad. As we can see for the rest of this year, all the way up through Season 14, there's nothing related to the Hunter's Call coming up, so a bit disappointing, but... Joseph says, what new region would you think is the most plausible? I think Sea of the Dam, because it's already creeping in Sea of Thieves with stuff like Sea Forts and Ghost Fleet, stuff like that. There was another thing I talked about in a previous video, and I think it'd be cool to have like region locking. And essentially what it would be is like, it'd be like permanent regions, but they'd only be accessible for certain parts of the season. So like let's say during the winter time there'd be like an ice region, and then the Devil's Roar would be kind of locked down, like shrouded or something during that time. Just so that, because the main reason they don't want to expand the Sea of Thieves map anymore is because of the issue that it would cause with the player size. You don't want to have it so big that you never see another player's ship because everyone's just sailing past each other. So that's why I was bringing up region locking before as being a plausible way for them to expand it. I could see the Sea of the Dam. One of the things I mentioned in that video is like a swamp region. I thought that'd be really cool, similar to what, if you remember the Pirate's Life, the third Telltale, where you kind of sailing through like that that swampy area. Something similar to that, but like on a more expansive side. I would love to see more regions in the game because I think it makes the game more unique. But the thing you need for these regions is special voyages for them. You have to give them a reason to go do it, because just having a variant of the same voyages you already have is not good enough. We saw that with the Devil's Roar. How many people are in the Devil's Roar doing that? There's like almost never anyone there. It's basically a dead region in my mind. Like today was like the first time I've been in the Devil's Roar for a while. Um, so that's just my thought with the regional. I think you have to make them more special than what they did with the Devil's Roar. They have to make it their reason to be there outside of just, going to look at it. John says, can you still disable the easy anti-cheat on PC, or did they patch that? I'm assuming they patched it. I didn't hear anything about that. I would recommend checking the patch notes for Thursday, because they usually have like a whole long list of bug fixes that I typically don't read too much through. I only kind of look at like some of the more interesting stuff to talk about. Tyler says Sea of the Dam would be great as like a hard mode world with more threats, more rewards, sweatier crews, etc. Just put it in a different server. See, I worry a little bit about segmenting the audience. It's the same issue that I have with Safer Seas. It's like you're pushing everyone away from each other, and I'd rather it just be part of the main world where you go visit it. And maybe you have like the Sea of the Dam be like a region that's only available during Halloween. And then it would make it so the reason why I also like the region locking aspect is if you have something that's always there, it's not as special. But if you have something that only is around for a little bit of the time per year, then you go and do it more often, as well as you are more likely to be excited about it each time it comes around. Like if the Devil's Roar was only available, say, during the summer, then, leading up to the summer period, I'd be like, okay, ooh, I can't wait to go check out the Devil's Roar again because it's been so long. And I think that would be a way that you could make the Sea of the Dam work. I think a hard mode world would be kind of cool. I just don't like the idea of like kind of segmenting the audiences and stuff. And that's like, how do you determine who is a sweatier crew and who's not? And how do you make sure that actually happens and stuff? Unless it's like a really small area, and then that has its own problems. Joseph says, what do you think about where the story is going with Tasha just being saved with no temple or something? I think it's so stupid, and I hate that they've done that. I was one of the people that really loved adventures, and I think it's because I'm used to things being time limited. There's a lot of people that play Sea of Thieves that think everything should be available all the time. And as someone that's played Fortnite and stuff, I'm used to, like, say, the map changing and things being limited. Like, right now they're doing an Avatar event. Once this ends in, I think, like 2 days or something, that's gone. It's done. But it feels special because it's like a unique thing that was only available at that time. So I was perfectly fine with the adventures, and I think the biggest thing that I liked about adventures is that you were able to do cooler things with the story as opposed to Tall Tales. With the adventures, we saw Golden Sands get destroyed and then be turned into Port Merrick, which is an awesome thing. So I would like to see. I wish adventures were staying around because I think it's a great aspect of the game. I see Tyler said that he's heading off. Thanks for the great content, Mr. Murden. Never seen you live, only call your videos. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I think I'm going to be live streaming more often, hopefully. I really like hopping in and kind of chatting with y'all about everything. Maybe we'll do one maybe next Saturday or Sunday, just talking about, the launch of Season 12 and everything. Yeah, so anyways, with the whole Tasha stuff, I was really excited about the temple idea because I thought they could basically integrate that with a season launch and make it so that like the temple was like a new type of voyage or something similar to what they did with Season 6. Both the Sea Forts and the Legend of the Veil tied into the adventure storyline, and that was great. Why is that? Like, why was that not good enough anymore? And I think it was really just that they didn't want to spend the money on it either, which is there's a whole lot of stuff that's surprising with what Sea of Thieves has been choosing to do. And, I don't think the game's in trouble right now. But, like, you have the PlayStation launch. You knew that was coming around. I feel like they should have just kept it going. So I don't know. What's your opinion on new sea monsters? Um, I would love new sea monsters. That was also what I talked about in that Hunter's Call video. Uh, I would love to see stuff like a crab monster, kind of similar to what we saw in like the Moana movie. I think that would be really cool. Um, I think it'd be cool to have like monster layers that we visit. Like it was really cool during the second part's Life Tall Tale, where you're down in the Siren Kingdom, and you saw the Kraken kind of come down. You saw its face and stuff, and you got to battle it. Doing stuff like that in like a replayable fashion somehow would be really awesome. Dave says Archie World had a good system where you could raise sunken ships with battling things. Maybe they could add something similar. Uh, sure. I haven't played that game or seen that before. Uh, Raising sunken ships. I don't know. See, like you wouldn't. See, the whole thing is you wouldn't want to like raise the sunken ship. If you want to get your sunken ship back, you go to the mermaid and you get spawned to a new ship, and then you can, if you want, you can sail back to where you died, and if you want to try to battle them, you can and stuff. But you wouldn't want to like have a way to raise the ship up again, like right at the spot that you sunk, because that kind of defeats the purpose of sinking someone's ship, really. And maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying with that, but that's kind of what I was interpreting from it. Joseph says with that temple, there was like some monster. I had an idea that caused the brethren opens the temple. This monster enters the Sea of the Thieves. We could have a new monster. That would have been cool too. I mean, I'm fine with both ways. I would have loved to have like a new replayable voyage with like the temple, and I think that would have been cool. Like I think a temple with like traps and stuff. So like if you imagine like taking like the Siren Shrine, mixed it with the art of the trickster, or the Shores of Gold Tall Tale, with it had like all the traps and stuff, and you had to like balance on them and navigate through. If you could combine some of those aspects together into a voyage, that would be really interesting, I think. And I think they could have done that with the temple and make it, a very adventurous thing, very kind of spooky, have a cool atmosphere, have it have traps and stuff, have some cool treasure, and keep it built into the storyline, similar to what the Legend of the Veil did. That would have been cool stuff with that. Damn Captain says hello. Hey, what's up? How you doing? So yeah, I think that was a lot of great conversation. I'll still answer any questions that pop in, but just thanks everyone that hopped in and chatted for a bit. I know some people are starting to head out, so just wanted to kind of say thanks for watching. I'll mention it again. I mentioned it earlier in the stream, but keep an eye out for this week. There's going to be lots of videos coming out with Season 12, as well as I'm planning to release a new season of Play Like a Pro. And basically the idea with that is it's going to be kind of rapid fire, where each day is going to be a new episode of that, and it's going to be covering different aspects of Season 12, like the scatter shot, the bone collar, some of the other aspects, even things that have been updated, like boarding, how to board in Season 12, and just in general, with some of the changes with the harpoon and everything. So there's a lot of great stuff. I'm pretty excited about everything that's coming. Once I hop off this stream, I'm probably going to get back to work on some of those videos. I'm about halfway done with the Play Like a Pro stuff, and then soon I'll have to get started prepping for the launch day. So some exciting stuff there. But yeah, I guess if no one else has any more questions, I'll go ahead and end the stream. But thanks everyone that hopped in and hung out for a bit. It was really fun. And I think we'll do more of these in the future. But all right, well, bye everyone. I'll see you next time.